What's up, Star Trek fans? If you've been watching long enough, you know that not every episode is a masterpiece. But sometimes, even the most disappointing episodes can end with a bang. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the 10 terrible Star Trek episodes, with awesome endings, the episodes that might have had their flaws, but still delivered some unforgettable moments when it mattered most. 1. The Alternative Factor, Star Trek, the original series. Let's kick things off with an episode from the original series. The Alternative Factor is often considered one of the weakest episodes in the Star Trek catalog, thanks to its confusing plot and lackluster execution. The story revolves around a scientist, Dr. Lazarus, who seems to be the only one capable of saving the galaxy from an existential threat. Sounds promising, right? The execution? Not so much. The episode is bogged down by strange pacing and a plot that doesn't really seem to come together. But despite all of that, the ending makes it all worth it. The final twist, where the two parallel versions of Lazarus are trapped in an eternal struggle, is a surprisingly effective payoff. It's a real "what just happened" moment that makes the entire episode feel more significant, even if it wasn't executed perfectly. It's the kind of twist that only Star Trek can pull off, taking an otherwise forgettable episode and turning it into one that you won't forget. 2. Spock's Brain, Star Trek, the original series. Spock's Brain. This is one of those episodes that's widely regarded as a disaster. The plot is preposterous. Spock's brain is stolen by a group of primitive aliens, and the crew must find a way to put it back before he dies. The episode's dialogue is cringy, and the solution to Spock's condition feels like a cop-out.
With Mr. Spock's brain, what use is it?
Time left to us to find Spock's brain. 8 hours and 29 minutes.
It might be a long wait.
Fans were left scratching their heads at how ridiculous the whole thing seemed. However, the ending is what saves this one from being completely forgettable. In a rare moment of emotional depth, Kirk's determination to save his friend and his unwavering loyalty to Spock shine through.
Immediately after making contact with Spock's brain, Dr. McCoy, Engineer Scott, and myself were taken prisoner inside a highly complex civilization hundreds of meters below the surface of planet Sigma Draconis 7.
When Spock is revived, there's an emotional weight to the moment that makes it feel more profound than it should be.
Spock's brain.
We do not know Spock.
This is Spock. You saw him on the ship. You have his brain.
We just want to talk to somebody about Spock's brain, that's all.
Brain and brain! What is brain?
Bones.
It's a perfect example of how Star Trek can elevate even the most ridiculous plots by grounding them in strong character relationships. 3. The Last Outpost, Star Trek, The Next Generation. Next up is The Last Outpost, which was the second episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation. This episode is a fan favorite for being one of the early attempts at establishing a conflict with the Ferengi, but it's also known for being clunky and overly reliant on heavy-handed dialogue.
Is this a female? A human female Latek? It's true. You work with your females. Harm them.
The story centers around the Enterprise encountering a Ferengi ship and a series of misunderstandings that lead to a standoff. Despite its flaws, like the outdated portrayal of the Ferengi as comically greedy and foolish, the ending does something that most episodes from the first season fail to do. It delivers a satisfying resolution. The Ferengi are revealed to be more than just greedy merchants. They're capable of being cunning and calculating, which sets them up as true adversaries for future episodes. The way the crew of the Enterprise handles the Ferengi in the end is a small but significant victory that makes the entire episode worth watching. 4. Threshold, Star Trek, Voyager. Threshold is notorious for being one of Voyager's most bizarre and controversial episodes. The premise revolves around Captain Janeway and Tom Paris breaking the Warp-10 barrier, which causes Paris to evolve into a new, more primitive species. The episode has been criticized for its nonsensical science and the absurdity of Paris and Janeway undergoing a bizarre transformation into lizard-like creatures. That said, the ending is surprisingly effective, even if it comes out of nowhere. The entire sequence where Janeway and Paris are transformed and then reverted to their original states in a matter of minutes is a mess. However, the emotional weight of Janeway's decision to save Paris and the bond that forms between them as a result of their ordeal makes the ending feel more poignant than it has any right to be. The episode leaves viewers with a sense of resolution, even if the journey there was a rocky one. 5. The Way to Eden, Star Trek, the original series. The Way to Eden is another one of those original series episodes that has fans divided. It's about a group of space hippies who want to find the mythical Eden planet. The plot is laden with 60s counterculture references and feels more like a social commentary than a Star Trek episode. It's hard to take seriously, especially with its bizarre characters and heavy-handed message. But the ending is what turns this one into a watchable episode. The space hippies ultimately realize that the planet they've been seeking doesn't exist, and their idealistic dreams are shattered. The final moment, when they're left to confront their choices, is a sad but honest conclusion. It's not the happiest of endings, but it does leave a lasting impression about the dangers of idealism and the harsh realities of life. It's a classic Star Trek lesson wrapped up in a strange, flawed package. 6. And the Children Shall Lead, Star Trek, the original series. This episode from Star Trek, the original series, is often regarded as one of the weakest in the series. The plot centers around a group of children who are being controlled by an alien entity, and the crew must figure out how to stop them before it's too late. The episode suffers from wooden performances and an overly simplistic storyline that doesn't quite come together. But in the final act, something shifts. The resolution, where Kirk confronts the alien being controlling the children, is a moment of true leadership. It's one of those rare times when Kirk's ability to inspire and rally others stands out. The way he brings the crew together to defeat the alien and free the children shows the power of unity and determination. While the episode itself may be lackluster, the ending gives it a strong, redemptive feel. 7. The Magics of Megas-Tu, Star Trek, the animated series. The Magics of Megas-Tu is widely considered one of the most nonsensical episodes of Star Trek, the animated series. The episode involves a journey to a planet where magic is real, and the crew encounters sorcerers and supernatural phenomena that feel more like fantasy than science fiction. The story feels rushed, and the tone is all over the place, leaving many fans scratching their heads. However, the final moments of the episode manage to pull everything together in a way that feels genuinely satisfying. The crew manages to escape the clutches of the magic-wielding alien race, and the final scene, where they return to the Enterprise and reflect on their strange adventure, is a nice little capstone to the chaos. The ending might not make the episode a classic, but it does leave you with a sense of closure and a reminder of how Star Trek often balances the absurd with the profound. 8. The Child, Star Trek, The Next Generation. The Child kicks off The Next Generation's second season, and it's a mixed bag. The episode's premise, which involves Deanna Troi suddenly becoming pregnant with a mysterious alien child, is awkward and unfocused. The plot doesn't quite deliver on the promise of exploring motherhood and the unknown, and some of the dialogue feels forced. But the ending brings the story to a surprising conclusion. As the child matures rapidly and becomes a force of nature aboard the Enterprise, the crew realizes they must make a difficult decision to save both the child and the ship. The final scenes, where Troi says goodbye to the child and comes to terms with the bizarre situation, are unexpectedly emotional. Despite the episode's flaws, the ending provides a sense of closure and emotional depth, giving the episode a redeeming quality. 9. Plato's Stepchildren, Star Trek, the original series. Plato's Stepchildren is often remembered for being the episode that featured the first interracial kiss on American television. Beyond that, it's a troubling and sometimes uncomfortable episode, dealing with themes of cruelty, power, and oppression. The episode's plot revolves around a group of telekinetic beings who use their powers to torment the crew, and the story can be a little heavy-handed at times. But the final scene, where Kirk and Uhura kiss to defy the telekinetic beings' control, is a powerful moment that transcends the episode's flaws. The kiss, which was groundbreaking for its time, serves as a defiant statement against oppression. The ending is powerful, and it's a reminder of how Star Trek used science fiction to challenge societal norms and inspire change. 10. The Savage Curtain, Star Trek, the original series. Finally, we've got The Savage Curtain. While this episode is often regarded as one of the more bizarre entries in Star Trek, the original series, its ending more than makes up for its odd premise. The crew of the Enterprise is forced to participate in a battle of ideals, where Abraham Lincoln and Surak, a Vulcan philosopher, are brought to life to face off against some of history's most notorious villains. The episode is a strange mix of action, philosophy, and downright silliness, with a lot of the plot feeling disjointed or overly contrived. However, despite the episode's weirdness, the final showdown between the forces of good and evil delivers a powerful message about the importance of ideals, honor, and morality. The final scene, where Captain Kirk takes the opportunity to show mercy, is a perfect encapsulation of the Star Trek ethos. It's a reminder that the real strength of Starfleet, and by extension, humanity, is its capacity to choose kindness and compassion over violence and conquest. Though the episode may not be the strongest, the closing moments give it a deeper sense of purpose, making it one of those episodes where the ending completely redeems the overall experience. And there you have it. 10 terrible Star Trek episodes with awesome endings that prove that even the most questionable storylines can end with a bang. What's your take on these episodes? Do you agree with our list, or did we miss your favorite bad but awesome episode? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and follow for more Star Trek breakdowns and all things geek culture. Live long and prosper.